Afternoon. Gordon Heath. Pleased to meet you.
Pleasure.
Have a seat. I must say, you're much younger than I expected. Mantis must have the best and brightest working for them, eh? So I've been reading in the Times.
You know, Ed, I'm sorry to interrupt you there, but I haven't exactly been entirely honest with you. At full disclosure, I really must tell you something.
Okay. By all means.
I'm not actually from the Mantis Corporation.
You're not?
No. I told you that I was from the Mantis Corporation because, or rather, I told your secretary that because I've been seeing what's going on in the papers and on the telly, and I knew that if I said that I was from the Mantis Corporation, that would guarantee that I could get a meeting with you, but it's not true.
I see. I must say I'm a bit confused. Who, may I ask?
Did you represent the Lewis and Woodall Company in the asbestos case?
Yes, I was lead counsel.
So, you were the solicitor defending that L&W plant in Bristol that allowed its employees to work in an asbestos-filled factory?
Well, that's certainly not how the court saw it.
Right. Management had no idea there was an asbestos problem, right? How could I forget that argument? But you don't expect me to actually believe that, though, do you?
Look, this has all been covered, all right? I mean, the case is closed. The prosecution failed to prove that my client was...
I know what the court said. All right, I read the judgment. I know what they said. But you and I both know that L&W concealed what they knew, that they allowed their employees to work in those conditions, to work while they were poisoned.
Look.
Just tell me, right here, between us, as men, they knew, didn't they?
I'm not going to discuss any of this with you. I've confidentiality between my clients. I'm not going to breach that, not for you or for anyone else.
Right, because if you did that, then you would be acting unethical, right? And you wouldn't want to do anything unethical, would you? You should be ashamed of yourself.
Well, excuse me, sir, but I've nothing to be ashamed of. I represented my client to the best of my ability. That is my job.
Right, it was just your job then, was it? You're starting to sound like the Nazis at Nuremberg.
Okay, I've had just about enough of this. I won't have you coming into my office under false pretenses and calling me a Nazi. I'm going to ask you to leave right now.
You don't recognize me, do you?
No, should I?
Yeah, we went to school together. We were even sort of mates there for a bit. My name's Sean Rourke. If you recall, I was constantly bullied by Russ Helms, and you were the only one who ever stood up for me, even though Russ was twice your size. And if you remember that one day when you beat 7 shades of shit out of him just for badgering me, and when my father got to school that morning and was so disappointed to see that his son was such a wuss, you told him that I was the one who beat up Russ. Do you remember?
Yes. Yes, I remember. So how is your father these days?
He's dead. He died of lung cancer from being exposed to asbestos. Yeah, he worked at that L&W plant for years. Went in every day, sometimes even on Sundays. Very responsible, stoic, dedicated gentleman, my father was.
Look, Sean, I don't...
Oh, fuck you, Gordon. You are like the Nazis in Nuremberg. You're like Eichmann, a bureaucrat who knew better, but sent the Jews off in the trains to Auschwitz anyway. Don't think you don't have blood on your hands, Gordon. Because you do. You know, that's why, in many ways, Eichmann was actually worse than Himmler or Frick or... Because he knew better. Wasn't even an anti-Semite. And that's, Gordon, that's what makes you worse. You're worse than L&W or the Mantis Corporation, or because you actually have a conscience somewhere, but you buried it years ago. For what? That's why you're worse, Gordon. Because you actually know better. But you do it anyway, don't you? The banality of evil, as they say. Well, it's a fine life you've made for yourself. I hope that you enjoy it.